consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spots that activate your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Welcome, my loves. Hey, you know I always like to start with questions, and here's the questions I got for you today. Do you struggle in your relationship with money? Do you find that your relationship with money is up and down, and feel like you have to work really hard for more money? Do you have a hard time talking about money, or even asking for the sale and or receiving money for your gifts, for the work that you do? Or when you receive money, do you spend it impulsively because it's uncomfortable, whether you're conscious or not about it, but whether you're uncomfortable to have an overflow of what you're used to? You guys know I love talking about money and all the moneygasms, and in this episode, it's totally for you if you are leaning in and you're saying, yep, I really need to learn more about how to have an abundant, healthy relationship with money. And I have my special guest and my new friend, Janet Key, who is Prosperous Woman Financial Coach. She was intuitively led to offer Prosperous Woman Coaching when she discovered her clients needed help on a deeper level. As she learned from her own financial challenges and uncovered her limiting beliefs around money, others came to her seeking her strategies about how she created a life of happiness and abundance. Through her own work towards attaining financial freedom, she discovered our relationship with money goes beyond having our life insurance, savings, and investments. Our relationship with money is how it makes us feel. Janet turned her relationship with money around when she realized the beliefs and emotions had been holding her back. You guys, this episode is going to be really juicy. Her life purpose is to inspire women to captivate their soul's highest potential and empower wealth. Janet wants you to know that dreams really do come true, and her work is to help you break free of your inner limitations and create a clear path that pulls you towards the financial freedom you truly desire. So without further ado, let's welcome Janet. Hello, my love. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hello, Rosalyn. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Oh, and I can't wait for you to share your story with the world. You know, it was really cool. I got to personally listen to Janet's story. We actually connected because I was on an online summit speaking, and she saw my presentation and connected with me. So I love that we connected, and I just can't wait for you to share your own personal story and your breakthroughs and how you got to where you are today and be living in your purpose to help women break through in their relationship with money.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rosalyn, I loved when I first met you, I loved your energy. I loved your story and who you are as an empowered woman.
Thank you.
I was definitely had to connect with you.
Well, I feel honored that we're here now. Thank you, love. So go ahead and share your story.
Yeah. Oh, my story. Well, I first started into the entrepreneurial world as an insurance advisor, and I have a background as a yoga instructor for over 15 years and been in the banking industry for 3 years and insurance for 2 years. I was intuitively led to Prosperous Woman Coaching. Of course, insurance and coaching has a two different energies. But the coaching part went to a deeper level, and I was led there through a number of different intuitive, inspirational hits, and I just said yes to that and was led along the way. Eventually, I choose to fully step into coaching. Energetically, it felt different for me, and it felt right for me. And I have to say, we all have a relationship with money. And we all have money stories. And I was first presented with my own money story when I was sitting on a panelist of women. The topic was around money, and one of the ladies said that money was energy. It was as if she spoke directly to me, and I immediately went inward and looked at my own story around money. As a yoga teacher, I understood energy. As someone who experienced a lot of different energy work and healing, I understood that. And for me, the disconnect was with my own relationship with money. I thought, wow, it's not where I want it to be. What is it that I need to learn? And I dug in deep and fast to uncover what it was that was preventing me from seeing what I needed to see in my own relationship with money. And it went back to, like, what I discovered was a common theme. And I grew up feeling like I never had enough. And I grew up feeling like I didn't have a sense of self-worth. And I grew up feeling like there was never enough. And I felt this way because I had lived in a household where love was not easily expressed. My mom, she was 17 when she first had me. And right from the beginning, she placed me up for adoption. So for the first 7 days, I had been separated in a room. And then again, 3 months later, she did keep me. And then I grew up. My father had a mental illness, so he was schizophrenic and manic depressive. So I grew up in an environment of abuse and violence and addiction. And imagine me as a baby, and every one of you as a baby coming into the world. I was born enough, and I certainly had great worth, and I was born a child worthy of love. We all are. And some of you might relate to, like, as I grew up, life taught me lessons and experiences that made me believe otherwise about myself, right? And provided me with a lot of misunderstandings. And I like to think of us as we're light and we're dark. And for me, I walked in that valley of darkness for really long. However, I had 3 distinct desires. Even from like a young girl, I had a desire for happiness. I had a desire for healthy relationships as I moved into my teenage years, and then freedom. And the interesting thing, Rosalyn, is happiness for me came when I began to heal my inner child and I started to love myself. And happy, healthy relationships came as a result of me loving and healing myself, right? And freedom.
1,000%.
Yeah, and freedom would come when I started to discover and let go of those things that prevented me from being in love, right?
Oh, wow. Can you repeat that again? I feel like that's such a writer downer for people. And I know that there's people that are listening right now that are like hanging on and feeling like they're resonating with that feeling of not being enough, of, their relationship with money being a struggle. And this is really huge. So please repeat that again.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the happiness came when I began to heal my inner child and I started to love myself. The healthy relationships, they came as a result of me loving and healing myself. And then that freedom, right? The freedom for me, it really came when I started to discover those things and I started to let them go. And what what prevented me from being loved, right? What I came into the world with. What was preventing me from that?
Oh my gosh, there's so many gold nuggets. And so as you were moving in your journey into this new level of loving yourself, how did this go back into, like, how did this apply in your relationship with money?
Yeah, so you'll see, I had discovered years ago, like when I was on my healing journey, that my purpose in life was to inspire and heal, right? And it's pretty clear that I did a lot of work around my limiting beliefs, the patterns and healing wounds, and did work to change my life, right? So when it comes to money, we have that relationship with money, and we are when it comes to relationships with people, like we can be emotionally triggered by our relationships with people. And that can be a great way or great lessons for us to learn who we are. And when it comes to our money relationships, money is emotional. Like we can have so many emotional triggers around money. And I feel our emotions around money can teach us about how free we really are.
Oh gosh, it is so true. It is so true. And I feel like this is really important for people to hear because, number one, I also had like that aha moment around like, what? Money is energy? How? You know? Yeah. And then it's just a deeper doorway in to explore ourselves. And it is amazing when we get to release those blocks. I love that you have a background in both the, masculine and feminine world, where it's like the yoga combined with insurance. Like that is such a powerful alchemy right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And so you knew this was like, as you're going through this journey, it's like, wow, like some opportunities of inspiring other people, helping people heal through this doorway of money really came to you. And did it come gradually to you, or was it kind of like a bam, like spirits knocking on your door right now?
Yeah, like it was over a course of time, and spirit did speak to me. Like I received clear intuitive hits that I knew I needed to listen. And like I like to think of it as, we're in two states of emotion, right? Love and fear. And, on a yogic level, like we're in alignment or we're out of alignment. And I look at our emotions of love, when we think of being connected to our higher selves, that higher power, the emotions that we think about are inspirations, creativity, empowerment, love, right? That greater feeling within ourselves. And energetically, when we're in that state, we are more in alignment. And when we're in that state of fear, it's the emotions of shame, blame, guilt, judgment, criticism, which we can have all those emotions around money. And when we're in that place of fear. So for me, it was seeing my own, because I understood like the power of my thoughts. Like I understood what I think about is what I feel about is what I do about in life. So as I navigated my own journey, spirit also guided me. I felt very inspired to speak and do public presentations to women around all these topics. And I started to meditate more and more, and information would just come in. And I was amazed at like my own abilities of opening the doors and the pathways for me of writing a blog and writing a book and writing presentations. Like it just started to flow. Like spirit just started to download in me, and it just like I was so excited and inspired to get this message out to women, to become more like the law of attraction is that energetic feeling of abundance, and our inner world creates our outer world. And we could know something, right? Like in our heads, we can know something, but until we feel it on that cellular level, like then things really start to change, right? So practicing that congruency, that harmony in life, so that we're more in that state, right? Because we can be more in that state of love, enlightenment, empowerment. We just have to practice that and be aware of our own thinking, our internal dialogue, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like that is everything. It's like that moving into our own internal dialogue first. I know that, like, for a lot of people, it probably seems unattainable to be in this, oh yeah, I'm just going to manifest like $1,000 today, or, you know, whatever that is. It's like, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? Because, and I know that Janet's going to walk us through some steps today because you are an energetic match to that amount of money. And that's the thing that I really want people to also hear is money is energy, and we are energy. And so like attracts like. So if you have some limiting beliefs around money, you have feelings around shame, anxiety, lack of safety around money, then it's going to be really hard to attract money. And in fact, in so many levels, we can attract debt then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, even when I worked in the banking world and I had a pension and I had savings, because I wasn't aware of my own money story and how it was playing out in my world from how I grew up, there was never enough, right? Which also was I didn't see my value. I didn't feel that. So life really will mirror for you what it is that you need to see. So if you're somewhere and you have financial chaos and stress and anxiety, it's like, what do you need to see on the inside, right? To learn more about you.
What we're going to do is we're going to head into commercial, and when we come back, we're actually going to have Janet share some of the most common money blocks that she sees her clients have and what she sees in the collective too. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back, love. So we're going to start to move into what are some of the most common blocks people have, Janet, when it comes to money?
A lot of the common blocks that I see with women when it comes to money, and not just women, of course, men as well, is the struggle to invest in themselves is a big thing. It's almost like they need to find a way to give themselves permission, like it's okay, right? Women they're natural caregivers, and they can give away a lot of their time and their energy for the good of others, and it often can leave them like sacrificing their own selves, right? And it'll show up for women. You probably see it too. Like it'll show up for women in charging for their fees, and a lot of the times they have a hard time with charging a fair value for their service. Like it's a real struggle.
It's a huge struggle.
Yeah. Overgiving, right? In a lot of circumstances, and undercharging is something that women struggle a lot with.
I see that quite a bit, yes.
Yeah, and they want to, like for a lot of women, and you know what, for those women that love handling the complexity of money details and they love it, like good for you, like celebrate that. That's something to be super proud of. But because a lot of women struggle with, they want to avoid dealing with money. It can create a feeling of anxiety, and a lot of them, it's like they'd rather give that control over to someone else, which can put themselves at risk, and it can ultimately disempower themselves. I know for me, like when I experienced a divorce over 11 years ago, I had been a stay-at-home mom. When I left that divorce, I was 37, and I had 3 teenage daughters, and I found myself completely starting over, and that was huge for me, and that's what initiated that drive for me to have my own financial independence and my own sense of financial freedom, right? Like I had, and I choose to leave that marriage with no alimony and no support because I just wanted to get away and have my own, my own peace. But I see that with women, they do that often. They just want to get away from the situation, and giving up those financial resources can impact them in such a negative way, right? And so I see that with women.
And I want to hit on a point that you said too, which is like, even in business, we can put out the intention of manifesting more money. And what I see is there isn't an organization to it. Like, what homes are you going to put this money in, whether it's savings or investments or like reinvesting back into your business? There isn't the financial tracking to it. Like you said, I noticed that a lot of women just want to avoid that conversation or avoid looking at money. So can you say more about that piece as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Stepping into a business is a risk, right? You're stepping into an environment where often you're not having that consistent income, in the beginning, a lot of the times for most businesses. And to balance that risk, having a clear plan, like what do you want? What is it that you want to achieve in your business, and having a plan. Like I use a 90-day system, so I know what I'm doing over that 90 days in regards to reaching my clients in webinars or working with them one-on-one. So it's having that plan laid out for yourself and then adjusting as you go, right? Like I find myself having to, on a monthly basis, still going in, okay, what needs to be done differently? And when it comes to your numbers, it's like, here's the thing. It's like, where are you spending your money? Are you spending in areas that are more important to you or in areas that are not as important to you, right? Because your money is an extension of your energy. And if you're just giving it away, and I learned those lessons in the beginning of being an entrepreneur, where I felt like I had to take potential clients out for lunch and coffees, and all of those things added up. So paying attention to the numbers is important. Having that plan, having the vision for yourself, and a lot of women, Rosalyn, have a struggle with even seeing a vision for themselves. It's like there's a blockage in their sacral chakra that prevents them from having a vision, in their a vision about what it is that they want, like to see the possibilities for themselves, to be able to dream, and then managing it along the way. And for me, I have a bookkeeper and an accountant that handles, I do my own internal stuff, like my own tracking, but I also have a team that helps support me. Because I don't have to do everything, right? Because there's, that makes it easier for me. But having that plan and having the accounts and knowing the big thing, right? Are you spending your money in areas that are important to you and not so much in the areas that are not as important? Because we can really, for example, like eating your paycheck can be a big thing, right? It's like, you can live in a busy world and it's like, where is your money going? And if you don't know, that's the problem too, right?
You said something that I really want to highlight, which is your money is an extension of your energy. So I really want to highlight that, because to have you frame it that way is, I feel like a lot of listeners really will move into that space of like, whoa, how am I going in relationship with money? Like that is an extension of my energy. And then the fact that you shared, like we give it away a lot, like going out for lunches and paying for them, and really like just giving, and almost like gambling, right? You don't know if there's going to be an energetic exchange in that. And I'm really hearing like being mindful of how we go into relationship with money, because it is an extension of our energy. Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, thank you. And that's some of the lessons that money taught me. I did a lot of personal work along my journey and felt that I had arrived to a place of love and self-worth. And it wasn't until I went in deeper with my relationship with money and what it was teaching me, what it was mirroring to me on a deeper level, was a belief, like an inner belief and an inner value of myself, and a deeper sense of self-worth on that deeper cellular level. And, money can teach us to value ourselves, right? Like when we give away ourselves, at the sacrifice of our own selves, that's dishonoring, like, to our soul and who we are. Like it really can disempower us. So that's just like one example of like where money can teach you, right? And then for people, when they look in their bank accounts and they feel, one, they want to avoid looking in their bank accounts, or they look in them and they judge themselves and they criticize themselves. Those emotions of blame and shame and guilt, that brings you to a negative energy within yourself, and it might show up in your money transactions, right? Feeling anxiety when you make a spending purchase, and what that says on a soul level, like go a little bit deeper about, who you are. It's like you're not loving yourself, you're judging and you're criticizing yourself internally.
Wow.
You do that.
Wow. To be honest, I never thought about it that way. That is really powerful. And what's coming up for me is the word boundaries. Like a lot of people do not have healthy boundaries in their relationship with money. Yeah, and your example of we just give it away, or we don't look at what's going on. Kind of like sweep it under the rug. Really, if we look at how we go into a relationship with money, I'd be really curious, because often how we do one part of your life is how we do all parts of our lives, right?
Yes.
And so, wow, that does bring up, I know as people are going to listen to this, that like, there's going to be a lot of us identifying with those feelings when it comes to money.
Yeah, having money conversations can be so challenging, right? Like you think of what a lot of people grow up with is like, you don't talk about money, and there's such a secrecy around it, and there's such a shame around it. So what does that do, right? That creates that fear, which blocks that freedom, which blocks the flow, which, it's like, it's so hard to talk about. And, even having conversation with your partner or your spouse, right? And sometimes that what it means is underneath the approval of someone else instead of your own self-approval can be much stronger than your own, and that can override what it is that you want or what your soul wants for you in life.
Oh, wow. Okay, I feel like we need to unpack this. I feel like this is probably the first time many listeners will be hearing a money expert talk about money in this way, with feelings and with soul. So can we unpack this a little bit? Because I feel like this is really juicy right now. And if it helps to put it into an example, please go ahead and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally do that. I have a healthy, loving relationship with my husband, and I absolutely adore him. And when I started on my journey, and I told him I was going to write about this in my second book, so I can talk about it here today.
Beautiful.
When I when I started on my journey as Prosperous Woman Coach, and of course I was, as I mentioned, I was in insurance first, and then coaching came along. And he was really triggered emotionally by the Prosperous Woman, like me naming that business Prosperous Woman. He felt like I was alienating men, working with men. And he's like, men makes all the money. And it was interesting because I got to witness his emotional triggers and his fears around, his beliefs around money. And then, you know, as I do my own work, one of the programs that I went through made me dig deeper into that example of having a discussion with my partner around money. And what I realized was his approval was so important to me. And when I was going to choose to step into coaching, I was I was writing an email to the guy of the insurance agency that I worked to let him know that I was going to let go of coaching, let go of insurance and step into coaching. I thought at that moment I should tell my husband first before I tell this guy my decision. My husband walks into the door at that very moment, and I said to him, I just wanted to let you know that I'm letting go of insurance and I'm stepping into my Prosperous Woman Coaching business. And he was about to give me some objections, and I said, you know, I'm not asking you for your opinion. I'm just letting you know what it is that I'm doing. And in that moment, Rosalyn, it was so profound for me because I was choosing myself. And all my life, I had allowed, and this is me on my own personal journey, but all my life I had let men control my life by me, by letting them tell me what to do. And interesting enough, as time went on, and I really stepped into my business, and the bank came along and provided me with an offer to return there. My husband really wanted me to take that bank job. And we're going through COVID, and I really had to go inward and explore what was right for me and where I see myself. Where did I see myself in my vision? Was it working in the bank, or was it being a speaker and an author and being a coach? And that was what I seen. And my husband disagreed again. Yet I feel that was another test from the universe to say, do you really want this? And, my husband, he did not support my decision to do this, to be a coach. However, he wants me to be successful as a Prosperous Woman Coach. And for me, it was having that open conversation with my husband, seeing that he had his decisions and he had his beliefs, but I also had mine. And even though we are in a partnership, I am independent, and on a soul level, I am independent as well as an independent woman. And it was a very important part for me to step into my own freedom and choosing me and my path. So that was the approval of him, switching it to the approval of myself really changed things on an internal level for me and created that deeper level of self-worth and inner freedom, right? Because I can choose me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. My whole soul is I'm literally having soulgasms as I'm listening to you share your story, Janet. I'm not kidding you, because here's the message I really want women especially to get, is that you are the CEO of your business. It is up to you to show up in your power and own it and claim your right to do the thing that you're led to do, that is aligned with your soul purpose. And that's exactly what you did, because as you did that, Janet, what happens, and I love this so much, because what happens is people around you who are naysayers, who are doubters, who are like, oh, are you sure? What if you fail? It doesn't even matter, because you're showing up for yourself. And then what happens is people start to shift. Those people who are naysayers start to shift. And I had my own personal experience in this as well, Janet, where I shared on one of my podcasts was one of those people was my dad. And he was like, are you crazy retiring as a psychologist? Like, and then going to coach? What's happening with you? You know? And so and now he's like one of my biggest supporters. So, and as I'm sure your husband is. And the most important thing is we show up for ourselves. Like those people who, if we're not taking our business seriously, and we're treating it like it's a hobby, guess how other people are going to treat us how they see us with our business, like it's a hobby, right? And I just love your example, Janet, of how you're showing up, standing your power, claiming it, owning it. And I love that you do that with your clients.
Yeah, thank you.
oh my gosh, that's so powerful. Is there anything you want to share specifically about any other common money blocks and how that might show up for women particularly and what you notice?
Yeah, all of those things about, there are the blocks, right, of undercharging and overgiving and being afraid to invest in themselves and relying on others for their financial independence. It's recognizing those blocks and then, moving through them, right? So here's our fears. Here's our limitations. It's looking at them. I say, what are your fears? Run towards them because that is the only way you're going to move through them. Yet all too often we let our fears stop us, right? It's like we're right? Fear can create such strong emotions within us, but that's the fear of the unknown, right? False evidence appearing real. And yet, if we can move through those limiting beliefs and those limiting patterns, that on the other side, there is usually a greater reward and a sense of freedom. And one of my clients that I work with today, and she retired from a career, so she's starting over. And for her, she had such resistance and fear coming into the program and working with me. And I love it as I see the transformation and the shift as she opens up. And for her, it's like, Janet, I grew up with societal norms and grew up as a daughter around a big family where, things, it should be good enough. And, she was never first place and, it was always second. And, for her to watch her go through and open up and let go of the resistance by looking at, navigating through those fears and those limiting beliefs. And it's like, you can choose differently, like in this lifetime, no matter what you grew up with, no matter what you've experienced in other lifetimes, like right now in this lifetime, you can look at these limiting patterns, these beliefs, and move through them to a place of freedom and more alignment, within your life.
I love this. So we're going to shift into commercial, but when we come back, I'd love for you to share with us a little bit more about how you take people from a poor relationship with money to one that is prosperous and abundant.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Janet, why don't you share with us how you take your clients in your programs from being in a poor relationship with money, and when I say poor, I mean like lots of emotional, chaotic stuff and behaviors around money, to feeling and being prosperous in their relationship with money?
Yeah. I work with clients in two ways, actually. One is on that physical level, and then the other is the emotional, spiritual level. So the first program is my Align with Your Inner Financial Goddess. And this is a 6-month program with a goal for the client to attain self-respect and pride in relative to their personal finances. And this is kind of like when you hire a trainer to go to the gym. This is the same way, right? So it's a process of self-discovery and empowerment around money. And we use mindset tools and strategies for my clients around their emotional triggers, but around their own personal financial situation. So it's creating a prosperity plan for the clients to reduce debt, increase their savings, and direct their spending to what's important to them. So educating them around finances and encouraging them and holding them accountable to their prosperity plan and to their goals. So it's a little bit of a guidance to the clients to a place of self-sufficiency and customizing a money management system for them to feel comfortable and confident in managing their money on their own, right? Because even a lot of people who make a lot of money could have a lot of debt and not have as much savings. So it's like, what is it they want, right? Bringing it into alignment with their values.
Yes.
The other way is, I love this way. I love both ways, but I absolutely love this way. That's the yogi in me. This is on the emotional, spiritual level. It's Awaken Your Inner Financial Goddess. And this is, I work with sacred money archetypes. And archetypes, they're so cool. Like, they are a pattern or a power that is within us, and they complete a complete set of stories, beliefs, motivations, fears, and courage, and they help give us direction in making choices in our lives more towards love, and they can really help us to move forward as a leader in our career and in our business. The archetypes, they really help. Understanding them brings you insight of your gifts and your strengths, understanding your patterns and your power, the challenges, so you can consciously move through your challenges. I absolutely love them. I find that they provide a powerful insight to who we are, so we can become aware of those unconscious behaviors.
Wow, I have always been interested in the sacred archetypes of money. And, I imagine that knowing what your archetype is can release a lot of shame and like understanding, and like be replaced with understanding why we are the way we are.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing is, the archetypes teach you about, as I mentioned, your gifts, your strengths, and the challenges. And I work with 8 different archetypes. And when a lot of the times in life, like for example, myself, I denied qualities of my archetypes. One of my archetypes is a ruler, and I have a natural desire to build an empire and that burning desire to achieve. Now, for most part of my life, the thoughts of, there must be something wrong with me. Like, what, am I insatiable? Like, why can't I just be happy in life? But that archetype was playing out and moving me forward in life. And until I really understood who it was like, oh, I have an ambitious nature, and that's okay. Like, these are natural qualities, but you could see how for years, especially having a dad with a mental illness, is like, I believed that there was something wrong with me. So understanding my archetype, it was very powerful in opening up the pathways to my limiting beliefs, shifting my perspective around who I am. So we have, when we do our archetypes, we have our top 3 archetypes. So they really tell us about who we are and how they can play out in our lives.
That is really powerful and really juicy work. Wow. And I'm really curious, just even with when you work with women, and I believe you work specifically with women entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
I do. Now, I mostly work with women. However, I have had some men come to me. So it's, it's different, right? We're working on that emotional level. And I think as women, it's a little bit easier because we tend to be more emotionally, more emotional beings, right?
Well, it's more societally accepted. So I believe we're all equally emotional, but it's more accepted for women to express their emotions. And so, definitely more women are open to this type of work, and of all different levels. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In their relationship with money? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to women, I find, I was 25 when I started on my path to truth. It was in my 37 when I divorced. And so it's like, depending on what phase of life you're at, I was 37 and my financial independence became very important to me. Like at that stage in my life, I was a mom. And so, women in that area tend to, I want to, make a shift in there. I find the younger generation are already coming in with this more empowered energy around money naturally, whereas us, when we're a little bit older, it's like we still have some, beliefs and patterns that come up, like with our relationship with money. And so it's true. Pretty, So when we get to look at, sorry, I almost cut you off there.
Go ahead. Go ahead, love.
Thank you. Looking at those patterns around money and going to, getting to know you and who you are at that core level. What are your values, right? The interesting thing about, even when you're in a time of adversity, which we are in a time of adversity, a lot of people can want to give up. And the stress and the overwhelm of financial chaos. A lot of other people, though, at the times of adversity can really go inward, right? So this is an inward journey of looking at your archetypes and who you are and what your own patterns are so that you can move to that place of freedom. And when you do go inward, Rosalyn, my inner truth, who I am, was discovered by me going inward on that journey.
Wow, it's so true. And thank you so much for sharing that journey with us. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we could jam for another hour. But we're at the meditation mark here. And I just really want to invite our audience to really feel into what stood out for you the most today as you were listening to this episode. How did you identify with some of the challenges, the money blocks, the behaviors around money? And absolutely, as you guys always hear me say, there's no shame around this. It's staying curious and being like, okay, and just feeling into the golden nuggets, the takeaway. I'm sure you had many, but feel into the one that was just really like mind-blowing for you right now. And it's going to guide you into your power, guide you into knowing. And so you can start to close your eyes or have a soft gaze and feel into this as you're thinking about this takeaway. Feel into the power of it. Whether it's clarity, it's new awareness, it's a goal to strive for. Just feel into this and feel it into your body. What sensations do you feel? Whether it's lightness, solidness, maybe expansiveness in some way. And any resistance that you have, whether it's in the form of anxiety, fear, shame, whatever it is, just notice it, make space for it. You know, it's okay that it's there, just breathing it through. It's just more information that there's deeper aspects to work through. And how beautiful that's showing up right now so that you get to clear it. Breathing in, breathing out, and feeling into your power, feeling into the possibilities of stepping into the next level of abundance with money, of empowerment with money, of knowing that money loves you and you love money. Money is energy. It is here. You can have money flowing to you, through you, and circulating around you. Korati kira tu koratia. Porakira korati kira turkira turakia. Poraka porakia rakatuam. Clearing anything in the way of your money, having money. Porakira tu koratu kira tu koratua. Receiving it. Feel safe. Korati koratu koratua. Porakira tu koratia. Aligning. Balancing your chakras, Purakurati Kira Tukuratua, activating possibilities of abundance in coming into your life, Kuratu Kuratua, Kira Tukurati Kira, and knowing that it is safe to do so. Kurati Kira Tukuratua. Breathing in and then breathing out. Abundance is your birthright. Korati kira tu koratua. One more breath in, and then breathing out, and just hanging out with your experience, noticing the downloads, noticing the sensations, feeling into what feels good, breathing out anything that doesn't serve or support. Beautiful. And when you're ready, just flow back out. So I'd love to take this moment to ask you, Janet, how people can get to know you, how they can get connected, how they can work with you. Where can they go?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful meditation.
My pleasure.
People can find me on my website, super easy, janetkey.com. So it's JANETKEY. And that's where you can see I work with my clients on a one-on-one basis, in a group setting, and also in a mastermind setting. So the Awaken Your Inner Financial Goddess is my work with the Archetypes. Align Your Inner Financial Goddess. This is like on that physical level to work through to become better money managers. I'm also on social media. Instagram is Girls Got a Plan. Facebook
Love it.
Facebook is I have a community which is called Prosperous Woman Club. That's an environment where women can have open conversations around money. And my Facebook business page is Janet Key at Prosperous Woman Coaching. So
beautiful.
That is where they can find me. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. And do you have any words of, you have tons of words of wisdom, but is there a message that you feel called to share right now with the world as we start to close our session today?
Yeah. I want you to know your enlightened net worth, like who you are, the value of who you are. You are so worthy. You are so worthy of love, of abundance, of prosperity, and freedom. Freedom comes when you start to let go of the liabilities, of the shame, the blame, the guilt, the judgment. When you step into who you are, when you believe and know who you are on that core soul level. So that is what I would love for you to know. I would love for you to tap into that part of yourself. And I feel that, as women, we are evolving. And what does that mean? That our soul is living and working through us.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So please do yourself a favor. Please go and connect with Janet. You are worthy, my love. Have an abundant day. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you, Rosalyn. Thank you.